Hello, everyone. My name is Alma and I'm lecturing Korca University in Economy Faculty in Department of Marketing Tourism in Korca Region in Albania. It's a great pleasure for me to be part of this Congress, and thank you for your invitation to take part in this event. This is the study that I have prepared for this Congress. And the subject of this study is something very special and is something very useful and very interesting. Okay, the subject of this study is about the impact of tourist guides in increasing tourist satisfaction. I don't know, but the tourism in all global states is part of all the economies, and they look for people to present the tourism, to interpret the tourism, and to develop the tourism. Many of the states of the world, tourism have the opportunity for increasing their economies, and the actors that will be part of this industry, the industry of tourism, are and the good people, and good in interpretation, good in giving the information of the tourist, and to interpret the attraction of these regions or these states. In Albania, especially in Albania, the tourist guide in these years are certificate and is done a good job in this direction. But we have so many problems because the tourist guides have only one certificate, but they don't have by the training that they have chosen in their life, but not a special qualified experience. The scope of the research is that this study is to identify specific attitudes of tour guides' performance for improving the following tourist satisfaction and destination loyalty in the context of Korca region in Albania. The research model includes the factors of tour guides leading to gains in the level of satisfaction of tourists. As most the research in the tourism sector has focused on the perception tour guides and tourist approach. This study extends knowledge by examining tour guide performance at the various points of view from tourist to tour guide and tour manager in the Korca region tourism industry. Okay, now we can go in the research questions of the study. For the first, this study will, excuse me, will explore what are the factors influencing the tour guide performance in tourism industry in Korca region. What is relationship between the tour guide performance and tourist satisfaction in tourism industry in Korca region? What is the relationship between tourist satisfaction on tour guide performance and destination loyalty? But the question is, what is tourism? We start with this. Tourism is the act and the process of spending time away from home in pursuit of recreation, relaxation, and pleasure, while making use of the commercial provision of services. As such, tourism is a product of modern social arrangements, beginning in Western Europe in the 7th century, although it has a tendencies in classical antiquity. But in what is a tour guided? A guided tour. What is a guided tour? The term Schmidt guided tour includes all forms of tourism where the itinerary speaks were known in advance what are they will be part of this tour, and which involves some sort of planning as well as the direct participation of agents other than tourists. But what is a guide? A tour guide. A guide is a tourism organization respective who attends tourists in order to provide information related to the story, geography, culture, economy, society, nature, etc. of the place he represents or the tourist visits. The other slides is about the definition of the consumer service. The consumer service is very important, and we can do that. The service can be described as help of or support. The support is necessary for the consumer because consumer service is about helping and supporting people we know as our consumer. Consumer service is a function of an organization's ability to consistently exceed consumer needs. Consumer service. We can say that consumer service is not just about smiling and treating difficult people, but is directly related to the benefit of the tourism industries. Often we tend to forget that tourism is a business and businesses involves around profits. This means that good consumer service is acquired throughout the tourism system. When we forgot that without consumers, tourism dies, we forgot the basic rules of the tourism industry. The next slide is about says that it makes months to find a consumer, seconds to lose one. We can explain the consumer satisfaction levels. Proper fulfillment of the client's need depends on the provision of a professional, helpful, high-quality service or first aid during and after the client's requirements have been met. Consumer satisfaction level is the feeling that a product or service has met consumer expectation. To provide quality consumer service, consumers need this organization to be aware of that they need. To provide quality consumer service, consumers need the organization to be aware of what they need. A survey of several thousand consumers conducted by the Service Quality Institute, one institute university in Texas, revealed 5 dimensions of quality consumer care: reliability, responsibility, a sense of apprehension, empathy, and competence. The position of the tourist guide in the tourism industry. The position of tourist guide in tourism is mostly seen in the pleasure that the tourist will receive during the trip, the performance that the guide will give, and how likely it is that in the future the tourist will return to the same destination. Tour guides are frontline employee in the tourism industry who play a significant role in drawing tourists to a destination. Now we are in our region, in Korca Region, and in a study area. If you see, if you have seen in the internet, in the web pages, Albania is a beautiful country, is a beautiful state, have more and more attraction, cultural attraction, natural attraction, and very good people, so hospitable people. Korca is one of these countries in Albania that have so much people that like to be part of the tourism industry. So much people that have visited Korca are the tourists, the domestic tourists, and the international tourists. Some of the international tourists compare Korca, the city of Korca, with the little Paris. They say that Korca is similar to the Paris, but in a little position, in a little demonstration, or in a little size. Korca is known as the cradle of Albania culture and is the largest city within the region. Historical documents say that the Korca is perceived was the poverty of musica, one of the feudal families of that time. The city has served as a very important trading market throughout the country's Albania caravans began their travels from here to Turkey, Greece, and Russia. In the second half of the 19th century, the city rose to be a very important economic, trade, and cultural center. Korca city today remains the most important economic and cultural center in the region. It exhibits Eastern characteristic along with the trace of French influence in its urban scheme and grand architectural planning. The first Albanian language school is there, originally for boys only, opened in 1997 and 1887, and today it houses a national education museum. A separate school for females was opened in 1891. A French lyceum opened in Korca in 1970, following independence. But the question is, why to visit Korca region? Here you will find the wonderful harmonious combination of high mountains, hills, lakes, fields, culture, art, cooking, and deep traditions. The region welcomes everybody that loves adventure, nature, and magic. The people of the region have always taken the traditional of hospitality and entertainment seriously while being committed to anesthesia and open-mindedness to their guests. Korta have many great museums that, but one of the most interesting is the Museum of Medieval Art. This museum has over 7,000 pieces of the art and was started in 1918. While you are beer drinking, then you will notice on your time in Albania that you may have the beer called Korca, the same name. Well, that's because it's product in Korca. Yes, if you say this is the Korca beer, and I'd like to invite you to drink this beer here in Korca because it's the first Albanian beer and is, excuse me, is very, very good. This is the map of the Korca attraction area, and they have the photo of the museums, and you will see here the legend and the attraction, natural attraction, cultural attraction, and historical attraction, and the religion attraction. General data for the study. The results of the surveys have highlighted what this study requires, such as the motivation of the tourists and their evolution about guides. The questionnaire were addressed to the person who have visited Korca at least once online. Thought questions, they have given their options also online because the pandemic situation is very difficult to do this work. If you've seen the person that come in Korca and visit Korca have so many purpose of traveling, but one more special is that 86% are only for travel, only for giving themselves the idea of going out of their residence. Attention to stay. The people that come and frequent, the tourists that frequent Korca, stay here 1 or 3 days. 1 or 3 days. And in this moment, Korca didn't have so many visitors, but so many international visitors for the situation, but once upon a time, maybe, Korca have international tourists from Paris, from Sweden, from Russia, etc. If you see the data analyze, you can see that the visit take place. Some people want to have a tour guide. Some want to travel with the GPS or maps. Some like some people like to travel only without the tour guide, without the maps, only to travel, but not to take place in one condition or one situation. The importance of the tourist guide in increasing the satisfaction of the tour is that they want to, they say that is very important. It's very important the tour guide performance is with a good performance is very important. The role of the tour guide in the tourism industry. According to respondents, 14% of them will travel with the help of a guide. 90% will travel with the help of maps and GPS, and 34% will travel only without the help of the tour guides or maps. The survey tourists have evaluated the role of the tour guide. 25% of them have evaluated the guide as important and very important for increasing their employment during the tour. Now we have the conclusion. Tour guidance interpretation is trying to produce conscious visitors who are active, ask questions, and are able to revelate the way they look to at the world. Tourism will develop even more if the appropriate policies for tour guides are followed. The study has confirmed the relationship among tour guide performance, foreign tourist satisfaction, and destination loyalty of foreign tourists in a package tour in the context of Korca Region. The positive image of the tour guide performance is not only positively and significantly related to the satisfaction of tourists, but only is one of the factors that determine the destination loyalty of consumers. Tour guide performance, in fact, is not only the factor affects the success of the package tours, but also plays an important role of build the image of the tourism industry in Korca Region and more. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions, I give you my email and you can send me your questions there. Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure for me to take part of this conference. Thank you very much.